I'm going to ask Alderman Betts to lead us in prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you for the day. Thank you for your love to us. Thank you for being able to have such a meeting with the way that you've blessed our town. And I pray, Lord, that you bless the decisions that we make. I pray, Lord, that you help us to make decisions to benefit all the town. For we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're going to start with our roll call.
Town of Vidalia Hydro Special Meeting Roll Call dated August the 22nd, 2022. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderwoman Denby. Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman Probst. Alderman Smith.
Here.
Mayor, let the show that the quorum is free.
All right, appreciate the alderman coming on with bad weather night. Appreciate all y'all coming on a bad weather day that we've got. First thing we're going to do, last time we did this, some of you are new here, but I'm going to go ahead and just do this again. Our meeting's not going to go as long. We're not going to elaborate on a lot of the things. I want to hear more from you in this meeting. But on our hydro monies, it's driven by Ordinance 588. It's very specific on how hydro monies can be spent. And there's requirements that are done all the way through this thing that the town does, all the way through it. And we even let you know, you still will get your rebate. And this year it's going to be 50% of whatever your electricity bill will be. You'll get it in a check here in the next couple of months. So 50%, whatever we do with these hydro monies does not affect your rebate. Okay? But anyway, there's item number 6 that it goes to that we satisfy everything the town has up to this point. And item number 6 says, number 7, I'm sorry. Revenue not expended as previously stated shall be considered surplus revenue and may be used for any lawful corporate purpose after satisfying the following conditions. A, the mayor and board of aldermen shall annually compile a schedule of projects on which these surplus revenues are proposed to be expended. A summary of these projects shall be published and the public notified that details are available for public inspection. At the same time, a minimum of 2 public hearings shall be called to discuss the proposed projects and receive public input concerning possible alternative uses of surplus revenues. And after holding the required public hearings and given due consideration of public input, the Board of Aldermen shall approve the expenditures of surplus revenues for projects deemed to be in the best public interest. And that's what these meetings are here that we're having now. Now, the first part of our meeting, we usually let the board discuss amongst ourselves the things that they had as projects. And last week, you've got the agenda there. Last week, I went first and I brought up that going ahead and completing Polk Park, which you see the drawing and renderings up here. Now, these things aren't etched in stone by any means, okay? That's why the public input is very important going forward. If you see something that you like or you don't like, let us know. And then the next thing we had was paying off our municipal debt and renovation of the Council on Aging and Masonic Lodge, safety net for the rec area, softball and baseball park, and $500,000 to the school board to add to help them, spur them, to try to encourage them to AstroTurf VHS football field. That is not only for high school games, but all the other football teams is coming up. And on, like I said last week, Saturdays, the field is filled up with families with their kids playing Pee Wee football all the way up to junior high stuff. Brent Smith also liked the idea of the turf in the field. We just went around Viking Street ditch between Eleanor and Viking Street. We're looking at a lot of support for that to maybe concrete that. Overflow parking at the baseball fields for the Relay for Life. We wanted to look at that, maybe asphalt in that parking lot. John Betts had to eliminate debt, Polk Park completion, the ditch between Eleanor and Viking, and safety nets at the ball field, and also turf in the football field. Alderman Gardner had the summer youth program increase the pay of it to up to $5,000 for the town to supply annual Memorial Day insurance for annual Memorial Day parade, which is is a very popular parade and has been for years and years and years. Also to put sidewalks from Riverside to Alabama and Alabama to North Spruce. Alderman Probst wants to look at removing all the necessary trees that could endanger our electric utility wires. The playground, he likes the playground at Polk Park, and the ditch at Eller and Viscount as well. And anything that we do with the football fields or the rec board, have CEAs drawn up on that. I will add one more, but it's not mine. We have a resident who works for Louisiana DOT. His name is Andy Moon. And Andy had a great idea for going and looking at putting decorative street signs all throughout Vidalia. Our stop signs and street signs, that would add a lot to our neighborhoods, I think. When you see those decorative street signs all over town, it really does dress up. It'd be for every district. It would add it would be nice. It really would. And I'll be getting with our street superintendent, Lee Staggs, and seeing how many we've got and getting approximate costs. But I think that's a worthwhile project that would really, really spruce up our neighborhoods. And talking about beautifying the town, I think it'd be really nice. So that's something I wanted to add on to that list, but Andy called me up, and he couldn't be here, but wanted me to add that to our list. So has anything else come up with Alderman Gardner? Have you had anything else come up you'd like to add? Or?
No, sir.
Okay, Alderman Betts? Alderman Smith? Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go into public hearing, where now we get to hear from you. So can I hear a vote to enter to public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Gardner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're now in this public hearing. I'm going to recognize anybody that raises their hand, and you'll come up to the front here and just talk a little bit about anything that we've already said tonight, or if you want to add something to it. Does anybody want to? Okay. Cassandra? Huh? You're going to have to get up to them? I'm sorry. You know you like talking that mic. Get on up.
I talk pretty loud anyway, though. You know, we were talking about the utility boxes, right? And we mentioned botanical and plant and birds. But some of the beautification committee also said it would be nice to have community people involved. We have probably some very good artists here locally that might be interested in decorating our utility boxes. And it would be nice if we could get some of our children involved in them. You know, throw a couple of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse out there and, you know, get the community involved in some of the projects that we have in our mind of doing, and making even more citizens involved in the projects. And that way they would take more pride in it.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Cassandra. I think, Gigi, did you have? Yes. This is Gigi and Jennifer Freeman.
Yes. Do you want to talk? Let me talk. Well, we've already discussed the canal, I think, and I just want to get straight that, you know, the part that we've seen looks pretty good and everything. We're just worried about extending from the canal. There's a lot of erosion along that bank, and it's affecting our house. You know, that's my main concern, to be honest with you. And
We're the first house on the street, so we catch the brunt of the water as far as that goes. And, you know, something I hadn't really thought about was, you know, if you look down the canal, you know, it's sloped off all the way down the canal, but it has grass on it to some degree.
Right.
You know, how much of that was somebody's piece of property at some point in time? And, you know, is it a potential for us to reclaim that if we fix the ditch?
I think anything we do, now this is, because honestly, with what's there, anybody that knows a little bit about drainage, you'll see when you have a you know, heavy rain and it cover just not handling, well, you see that water starts, you know, circulating through there, and what it's doing is eroding that whatever close by, and which is y'all's house.
Yeah.
And what I would suggest whoever engineers that, Gigi and Jennifer, I would like to promise them that they would probably build that apron of that concrete ditch all the way up, you know, that would certainly support, you know, y'all's land from maybe shifting off or getting, you know.
Yeah, it's starting to wear at my shop, which is what, probably 100 feet from that culvert. So,
But,
you know,
we-
it's done excessive damage, but, you know, I'm pleased that you guys are getting it fixed. I've asked 10 years ago, and they just told me to give me some dirt, but you guys are actually doing something, which I
Well,
appreciate.
We will, I mean, I'm pretty sure this will be something that we can, that's probably, you've already got it sounds like the votes, I think, from the council, you know, to get that done. So, it sounds like that's gonna be a project that will get started as soon as possible, sooner than later.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
Since y'all are improving the football field, I think the speaker system's due an improvement. I don't know if
Yeah.
you mentioned that, so.
Yeah,
got
that's
extra
pretty
money for
bad. It's
that.
pretty archaic, really.
So.
Pretty archaic. You know, one of the things that we talked about last week is when we improve our schools and our help, you know, improve our schools, you know, I envision when that happens, we're going to have a lot of support from not only community, but businesses that want to do those upgrades to it, that make it a really nice experience on Friday night lights and putting people in those stands and just helping support those kids and all the support groups, the cheerleaders, the majorettes, the band, everything is just going to be a big thing. And I want to go ahead and thank Gigi. Gigi is one who is working on our sign up here that's come up, that's going to be put that together, and I can't wait, and it's going to be a surprise when everybody sees it. It's going to be one of those things we're trying to do to encourage, you know, participation and motivation to our kids and also to our parents. So thank you for that work.
and then the only other thing I say about the high school is we don't have a track.
Well-
So I don't know if that's part of it.
I don't
but
know if I'm letting the
it's-
cat out of the bag, but Coach Norris and I are in discussions, and he tells me that the track portion of that has maybe already been approved.
Oh, fantastic,
So
fantastic.
he
Well, that's
thinks
great.
that's,
Well, I know we started track last year, and like, we would have to go to Natchez to
Right.
practice and things like that, so that would be great.
okay. I think he said I think he's got that piece put together. So it sounds like the football field ought to be an easy piece if we're going to put that up there for it. So it'd
Yeah.
really be a nice facility.
And one more thing, I talked when Paul was the superintendent, school board superintendent, I talked to him about learning workshops for kids during the summer. If y'all could get behind something like that, because, you know, our kids are behind now because of what's happened.
That's right.
If there's some way the city can get behind some educational, bring people in to have workshops or something.
That's on it. That was discussed last week, and actually, Wendell, on their request on District
that's
1 and
good.
2, they had some, you know, tutoring programs and things on that we will be certainly looking at trying to help with and fund.
I guess y'all don't need us then. All right, then, we're done.
Hey, Greg,
Thank
how
y'all.
close did the water come to getting in your shed the last rain? It
was-
looked like it was pretty close.
right
It was
up
pretty
there to
close.
it.
But when we first moved there, which was 11 years ago, we had a nice set of bushes. I don't know if you've not,
Yeah.
but now they
There was-
basically fell into the
There was
canal.
also some, like railroad ties, sort of.
Yeah, Mr. Deal had tried to block it up, so it's
but
been,
those have
erosion's
pretty
been happening
much-
for a long time.
Those have pretty much.
So-
Yeah, well, it looked
been
like it was
wiped out.
pretty close.
Oh, it was very close.
And getting closer. So, thank y'all.
Okay. If you'll look on, if y'all see the what came with your agenda, you'll see what some of the requests were from some of the citizens. If you'll look on that back page, you'll see several of the lists there, some of the things that people wanted. That was one of the things Ricky Knapp wanted, was a football field and track. The beautification committee wanted well, they've already got money doing that, the light poles and decorative light poles, Christmas decorations. But they wanted to add maybe a big flag somewhere here in town. See, the Galloway talked about the botanical art and native birds on meters. Wendell Middix had a list of different things. And by the way, I went ahead and looked at the thing on the fire hydrants. And the chief says we're good on spruce and laurel, that magnolia and walnut could use, you know, probably another hydrant down those streets. But anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know we're already starting to look at this stuff that y'all were requesting. Miss Josephine Webster had a Save Our Sons and Daughters, which also included the the tutoring and program. She was there. Ms. Josephine's here, and retired educator for our parish. Ms. Georgiana Berry wanted elderly activities between 4 and 7. And then Ms. Cheryl Bowman wanted a movie night at the amphitheater, job fairs and local small business support. And Kenny Rushing was here and was requesting a sidewalk, you know, from VHS, from Vidalia High School around to maybe where the markets are, or to those neighborhoods right through there. So those are all good ideas that were presented last time. That what I'm going to do is try my best to try to, okay, go ahead. I'm gonna come, yeah, but I'm coming back to you. I just want to go ahead and talk about what's already been talked about. And again, y'all can ask questions about any of these things that were already on here, okay? But what I was going to say is that our next step, what I'd like to see us do is maybe meet with the aldermen together and go through this list and try to quantify, put dollars and cents on it, and then put it before them, and then compile a final list and come back to y'all for another meeting and say, this is what we're going to do, this is what, and Mike can do every bit of it. I'm hoping we can. Everything that's on here, I'm hoping we are going to do or can do. And so if we can get approval from our council to go along with it, I think we can get it done. So, all right, having said that, now, any want to add? I would like to recognize, I have Graham Roberts here. We have James Thomas, who is the president of the rec board, and then also Fred Marsalis, who is on the board. And I thank them for coming to show that the rec board is interested in working with us to do some improvements over on the field. So, Graham?
Hey guys, I'm Graham Roberts. I work with the rec board. I'm not on the board. I just work with them, but just kind of wanted to add to some of the things y'all are doing. Very excited about the opportunity, or about the possibility of a lot of this happening. But as I wanted to touch on kind of something I've talked to the rec board about. As far as the nets go, I'll tell you this. So there's a lot of maintenance and there's a lot of replacing on those nets. Something we've talked about I would actually like to see is kind of a tarp. It's a windscreen more than it. So we've got two problems out there. You got foul balls and we have shade, right? And so what there's a material they make is kind of a tarp, and you can get it in different ways, but it would be twofold. It would create shade and foul ball protection, and that's something I would love to see us maybe consider doing there. Something else that we've kind of got that it's not, it's by no fault of anybody's own. It's just we've got soccer that is growing rapidly. As a matter of fact, soccer's among youth is one of the fastest growing sports in the nation. And that's among youth all across the nation, not to mention the world. I don't know if you know how many of you have been to our soccer fields, but it is a hay pasture basically is what it is currently. We have a group that is running soccer for us right now, doing a phenomenal job. They genuinely do a phenomenal job. And we've got 12 fields over there right now. They've got a plan to grow the sport of soccer in our community. When they came to us and proposed, as a matter of fact, they had a map. They'd done a lot of research, and Baton Rouge had soccer, and they kind of had their outreach. And then you go over to Jackson, and it kind of overlapped, had an outreach. And then down, basically, there was this big hole where soccer was not touched anywhere within probably about a 50 to 75 mile radius of us. And now that map actually shows it's filled in because of what this group has done. They're sanctioned with U.S. Soccer, Louisiana Soccer, and something that they would love to see, I would love to see, is potential to, number one, they're in a hay pasture, and so we need some irrigation out there, and we need some grass. We need Bermuda grass out there. You can't have Bermuda without irrigation, so those kind of go hand in hand. And then that being said, I don't know how you work around it or what you do, but parking gets tough over there, so the next phase of that, in my opinion, is lights. They need lights so that they can play. You start to being able to expand your schedule, work around parking, because in the spring, we have about 500 kids that play in the soccer league, and that's fall and spring. And so that's actually more than we have playing, on the baseball or softball side. So parking can get really, really rough over there. If you had lights, you could schedule your times a little differently. And then potentially some bathrooms over there, because there's no bathrooms. So maybe a pavilion with some bathrooms and a little concession stand. And that's just some things. and we have a beautiful complex. You know, we've had all-star tournaments up there, and people come and they just fall in love with it up there. And so we really do need to catch the soccer up if we can.
In the meantime, maybe y'all might consider getting some some temporary, I hadn't thought about that. If y'all got that many kids and stuff out there having to go to bathrooms.
Well, they do. So, look, they did a phenomenal job this year, and they get porta potties out there.
Okay.
And then we also open the softball. We open the softball
Okay,
gates,
good.
and so people go to the softball gates. But
Pretty good
look,
walk.
and anywhere you go, any sports complex in the U.S. you go to, you're gonna have to walk. Brent's been to them. A lot of you've in here been to them. You're gonna have to walk. Whether you park, you're gonna have to walk. It would just be kind of a courtesy. I mean, we're already going to be running electricity. I think the track's going to be lighted correctly. That was one of our issues when we did a study last year, is getting electricity out there, because it apparently stops. But now that you're going to have electricity out there, of course, I know that there's a different grade of getting those big lights lit. But
Just a matter of information, the property line, the town owns some of that property going through the complex, and then the rec board owns the remainder of it.
Yeah.
I'd have to get a map to show you how it goes through there. So whatever happens, whatever expansion's done, it would require a CEA with the rec board. And, we want to make sure that we're working with the rec board on what y'all want to see over there as well, and around the whole complex before we go forward.
Right.
Because I would like for them to have their blessings, all of us together, and be on the same page when we start this thing, so we can, not have any issues or problems taking it forward, getting final plans and putting them into place and making it happen.
I don't think I'm speaking out of line, but I would almost say that anything that benefits our youth is what, I mean, that's what we're about. So
Okay?
anyway, thank y'all.
Okay, thank you. All right, James?
I'd just like to touch base on what Graham was talking about as far as netting, so-called, at the complex. He did describe the shades, and it's just basically a big, huge umbrella that kind of comes over. It'll serve two purposes, for shade and for safety of foul balls. It's hardly no upkeep on it. And also, when it was designed, if you can look over there now, the poles that are behind the dugouts and everything, they're really not tall enough. They need to be taller, and they need to go from dugout to dugout. And that way, if they were another 10 to 15 foot taller and went from dugout to dugout instead of stopping 20 foot short of the dugout, it would stop a lot of those foul balls. So that would help out tremendously if we could talk about doing that. And I wanted to mention, you said something about the $5,000 for the summer program. Are you talking about Raymond Riley's program?
Mm-hmm.
What does that consist of?
What it is, the year of COVID, well, one year, last year, I don't think they didn't do it because they couldn't it was COVID, and it wasn't allowed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This was, where they have, the gym is open, or somebody there working with the kids.
In
for
the
them-
evening time?
Huh?
In
Yeah,
the evening time?
In the evening time.
Yeah. I mean, is that just salary based, or is it based for equipment? Or what is that?
What that does is the town, basically, they come and ask for that money, and the town does not want any part of administering that. So what we do is, we made them administer that through the church, because there's no liability, so the town doesn't have any liability with any of the kids there. We give it to their church, and their church administers it, and that's how it's
Okay,
done.
well, the reason I was asking.
And it's
that
been
is
there for a
because
long time.
It has been. It's been we've actually had the program down there longer than he has. Now, when I say we, I'm talking about Recreation District 3. And we have a daytime summer program for kids up to like 13 years of age. We didn't have it because of COVID for the past 2 years. This year, we didn't get to have it because it was a misunderstanding between the junior high and high school. We didn't realize that they were going to have their gym floors resurfaced. So we couldn't have it. And in the previous years, Mr. Riley has asked to use the equipment that we buy for our program for his program. So now, when I think all this came about and the city started doing the program, y'all was giving him like $4,200 or something like that. Is that correct? Because I sat in on that meeting. And I'm just wondering, is that monies for him to buy the equipment, or do we need to supply him with the equipment for his program as we supply it for ours also?
I'll have to set, I don't know the answer to that, James. I don't even know what they do, other than they play basketball. I think there's ping
Yeah.
pong, there's different things.
They
that
do, they play ping pong, they do, everything that basically that we have down there for the kids, except for, you know, the small, like the Uno cards, I mean, they do checkers, we got coloring books, they play Foursquare, things like that. And like I said, we run it through the summer from 8 in the morning till 3 in the evening with a
How
hour
was
lunch.
how was y'all's funded, the one that you run from 8 to 3?
We fund it through the rec board, through Recreation District Number 3.
Okay.
Everything is bought through Recreation District Number 3, and the salaries are paid through.
Who determines who determines who works and all that? I'm
They-
just asking,
well,
does the board do that? Does the rec board?
In the
do-
previous years, Miss White and Miss Logan have came to us before the program comes up and tells us what dates they want to run it, you know, for how many hours and things. And so we all approve it through them. This year, Miss Tyberry Bell, which I ask everybody to keep that family in your
Yeah,
prayers
for sure.
for them. She came to us this year with her idea of doing it, and we were all for it. And then we tried to schedule it, but we couldn't get it done because of them working on the floors in both the gyms. Once we found out the junior high was out, then we went to Bernie, and by the time he got us some dates in there, well, they went from there to working on that floor. So I was just wondering, you know, with that expenditure that y'all are giving Raymond Riley, should his equipment that he uses come out of that funding, or should the rec board still have to fund what he's doing there on top of the $5,000 that y'all give him?
So basically, y'all are doing the same thing.
Yes, we do it during the day, but we only do it for the younger kids, from the 13 and under. But he does it in the evening times for the older, is my understanding. So,
For everyone.
My suggestion is to maybe have a collaborative meeting
That's
with
a-
both parties.
Yeah, just have one, run it through the rec board, and let it be, and have two, have one during the day and one at night, just.
Have them sit down with both parties and figure out what's going on.
yeah, that's fine. That's what I was just wondering, because like I said, he's requested to have our equipment down there. And I mean, at times, we've had some equipment come up damaged, but we weren't there to see who it was and who did it. And, you know, the ladies that we have running our program says it happened in the evening time. We don't know, but that's just something I'd like to know. I mean, what's the funding for that he's getting? Because we know what we're doing with ours. We take inventory of everything that we have so that when we get it back at the end of the season, we store it at the rec building, and then, you know, we go from there with it. So
Okay,
it's just a question that I had.
okay. Good
But we
question.
appreciate everything y'all are doing and for the rec board, and I hope that we can work well together with getting some improvements over there.
James, when my girls were playing ball, we went to a bunch of tournaments. Did I send you the video I took of the nets at that one complex I was at? I know I sent it to Greg Young, but I got a different
I don't know.
phone since
I've
then.
had several people send me, you know, pictures and stuff. And of course, I've seen them too
Yeah.
with my travels all over the state. But like I said, I think the best thing that we could do up there that would work as far as shade and protection would be those big umbrella type shields.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're supported on their own and everything. And you can get them in pretty much any color you wanted to. You know, it don't block out the total sun, but it throws a good shade, and plus it would serve as protection also.
Yeah, I just
And it's
remember there
not
was-
very much maintenance in that. So.
We had looked into it, and I remembered it was something to do with the light poles, that it would void
Yeah,
the
Boyd,
warranty.
we
on
have a
it.
25-year warranty on the actual lighting, from the poles to everything that goes along with it. If anything goes wrong, if a light goes out, they actually know it before we do. It shows on their computer, and they come here and they change it, or they come by so often and check to make sure that our lightings are still in the right place, because we do have storms and stuff that will move it. All of that is under a 25-year warranty, and you cannot connect anything to those poles. So that's why I think that the shaded thing that we're talking
Yeah.
about, it would be better than connecting nets or anything to it like that.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be shade, but if anybody's luck is like mine, if there's one place that ball could get through to hit somebody, that's,
Yeah.
you know, I just wanna
Vary
make
odds a
sure.
little bit though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I had, and if we could,
Okay.
if we could do that, that would be great.
All right. Well, thank you, James.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you.
that. All right, I want to I see Larry Chauvin came in, but Larry works a lot with the farmer's market. Larry, I'd be interested in your comments about, possibly putting the farmer's market up here across from our community garden with, they have a shed over the heads with fans and tables they could put their wares on. What's your thoughts on that?
That's a good idea. I mean, it really would help in the rainy days and things like that. The only thing I think, I would hate to see is the community around where it is now can walk or come to it. But we might want to check with the council on aging and get their budget, pick
Sure.
it up and bring it up there to it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be hard. Dorothy would probably be willing to do that.
Right.
And everything, but,
Well, one of the things I would like to see us do as a town, as we're growing, and we are growing, and we're doing very well, and as we progress, is to consider, we have a bus that we have at the convention center, is upgrading that, and on days that we do have things like that, maybe help our citizens that can't, help themselves. And I'd like to see us do that. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing things like that this day and time with how things are going. I'd also, even talking about the tutoring program, we've got an IT center down there that's got, it's got broadband and fiber and computers where these kids that can, and the other day I went to a program at the library. Miss Amanda Taylor is doing has always done a fantastic job at the library. They now have it for, it's going to be where anybody needs an attorney. You just go down to the library, and it's virtual. You go in there, and you can select an attorney, and the attorney will come over there and help you right there on the computer and advise you on whether it's anything to do with whether it's probating and wills and successions, and it's just all divorces, child support things. You can go in that library. It's going to be a resource where you don't go to an attorney's office anymore. You can go in there, sit down, and have a live attorney meet you face to face, a Louisiana attorney, and advise you and help you on your legal affairs. It's pretty neat. And I was just thinking, if we just really, really all got set down together and just really work together on helping our kids understand the resources we have at the library, also at the IT center and at our schools and the resource centers, man, how much of a difference would that make? How big of a difference would that make? So, anyway, I appreciate everybody, today I did my article, I did my quarterly thing that we put in, y'all get the mail out, that's done through LIPA. And I was just thinking about our kids. A lot of times we're encouraging our kids we want them to stay home. But, should we really be encouraging our kids to stay home? Or should we do what they're really natural for them to leave and go and find out what's out there, learn from other places, have experiences, get educated, and then come back. And us do our part and have something here for them to come back to want to come back to bring back their experiences they have, come back home after they've gone and done these things, and bring back fresh new ideas from other communities, other schools, other areas, and bring them back. Encourage them to go out and then bring them back. There's going to be some that don't want to, but that's okay. But to encourage those people to have something here for them to come back to, and that's what I think is important that we're trying to build, is to make sure we have something, those kids, when they do leave, they're going to come back and want to come back and share those ideas for us to move forward. Okay. How you doing, Joe? Is anybody else want to, okay. Well, I appreciate everybody. Joe? Joe's with the Concordia Sentinel. He does a good job of keeping everybody informed on things going on in Vidalia. We'd like to thank y'all for doing that, and the paper for doing that. You can watch it. It was live on, it was live.
Blame the police jury.
Pardon?
Blame the police jury.
Oh, blame the police jury? But anyway, I'd like to thank y'all for coming. We're going to exit our public hearing. Do I hear a motion to exit public hearing? Motion made by Alderman Gardner, second by Alderman Smith. All in favor say aye. We're adjourned. Hey, if y'all